Bonjour! Today we're doing braised lamb shanks, one of Julie's most famous recipes. As you can see, we've started by lightly seasoning these with olive oil and some of that fantastic espresso seasoning that we brought back from Tuscany. And then Julie just seared them so that they're this beautiful crisp on the outside. We're now about to start the vegetables.
And that will be garlic, celery, carrots, and onion, chopped coarsely. And don't forget to put the little celery leaf in there too. Gives a great flavor to your broth.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get these braised.
So now let's get them back over and start them sizzling. The sound, as always, still the sizzle, not the steak.
It's the pop.
Oh, and that's in with the same olive oil that we use for browning the lamb shanks. So you've got all of that wonderful goodness is now going to be transferred into the veggies. Wait a few minutes and we'll catch you at the next step. One other addition here. We have 6 dried shiitake mushrooms, which I reconstituted in about a cup of boiling water. They add a wonderful, dark, earthy, woody flavor that I am really looking forward to having in the lamb. And as you'll see, well, the braising is going to be interesting. Oh, one more note, we seasoned the vegetables with just a pinch of that same espresso seasoning. No salt and pepper. The espresso has a good deal of salt in it, and the rest of the flavorings are just fabulous. So we're letting these cook just a little bit, and then we're going to start putting it all together. So as you can see, we've cooked the vegetables for about 3 to 5 minutes until they just start to brighten. And now we're going to add some of the other ingredients, such as tomato paste, 2 big tablespoons.
We'll mix this in with the veggies so it dissolves.
Right. We also have, this is the leftover soaking liquid for those shiitake mushrooms. Never throw away the liquid. It's always good to add a little bit of flavor whether you're cooking Chinese food or lamb shanks.
But if you watch, you don't want to stir it because when we pour, we'll leave the sediment on the bottom. Right. Sometimes those mushrooms have a little dirt left.
So as you can see, we've stirred the tomato sauce in. It's made a wonderful, it's basting the vegetables beautifully. And now Julie is very slowly straining, well, pouring carefully, the liquid from the mushrooms. Again, we're making sure that any of the sediment, any little bits of dirt or whatever else that's stuck from the mushrooms doesn't come in with it. But we also don't want to lose that great earthy mushroom flavor. We'll stir this up and we'll get to the next step. Okay, as the mushroom broth is starting to mix in with the vegetables, we go to the next step. This is what makes it special. Putting in about, what is it, about a half a bottle?
Yes.
Yes. Putting in roughly half a bottle of, in this case, this is an Eastern Washington wine. It's a blend of Syrah, Grenache, Mourvedre, and Petit Verdot. So all southern French, warm weather, warm climate varietals. All right, so here are those beautiful lamb shanks just seared along the outside. Julie's going to add the vegetables, the wine, the mushroom broth, and the tomato paste. And we'll make sure that there's enough to cover. If there isn't, or rather, if we still have some lamb shanks sticking out of the surface, we'll add a little bit of wine to make sure that they're completely covered. That way the braising will be a long, slow process that cooks them to perfection. All right, now these are going into a 300-degree Fahrenheit oven. We'll cover them and we'll check them, in about an hour? Okay. Total cooking time?
Approximately 2.5 hours.
Okay. So you want to check these every hour or so just to give them a good stir, make sure that nothing has gone wrong, that they haven't evaporated too much. But the whole trick with these is long, slow cooking covered. Oh, and one last thing. So here, this is some Italian parsley that Julie's tossing over the top. We'll let that sort of simmer along with it, and it'll render its wonderful herbal flavor into the stock. Okay, so we're at the 1 hour mark here with these wonderful braised lamb shanks. So you can see the vegetables are looking fabulous. A few little bubbles here and there. I've just taken it out of the oven. I'm going to stir it, and we'll put it back in for a little while longer, and then the magic will happen. Okay, when I talked about the magic happening, this is it just past the 2 hour mark. Notice how there's this beautiful rich red oil that's from the tomato It's all risen to the top, and as you can see, the lamb is starting to get tender. It's starting to fall apart. We'll leave it here for the next few minutes, and when you see it again, something even more wonderful will have happened. Stick around. Okay, it's been 2.5, close to 3 hours now, and as you can see, the lamb shanks are not only done, they're scrupulously tender. In fact, there's a reason you have to pick them up by the meat, and you can see it there. If you pick them up by the bone, the meat slides off. So we're putting them on a baking sheet. They're going into a warming oven just to hold and to glaze them just slightly on the outside. Meanwhile, all of this wonderfulness, the liquid and the juices and the vegetables, Julie is going to strain those, run them through a chinois, and essentially come up with the most unbelievable gravy. No thickening, no flour. Oh yeah, this is all totally gluten-free if you care about that. It's heavenly. Just wait. Since the chinois is a little bit tough to come by, Julie's demonstrating how you can do the same thing. You have, rather, get the same effect. You run all of the vegetables and the liquid and all the juices through a fine mesh strainer. Use a wooden spoon to mash things down, and you get, essentially what happens is the vegetables, as you crush them, they thicken the sauce so that you end up with this wonderful thick lush gravy that coats everything, but it has the flavor of the vegetables and the lamb and the wine, everything that's been cooking in here for hours.
And
it's incredible.
Reduce it.
Oh, right, and Julie adds, we will reduce it. So by the time it actually goes over the lamb shanks, over the cornmeal, it'll be wonderful. Okay, so here are our 3 beautiful lamb shanks. As you can see, they're on a baking sheet. They're in the same 300-degree oven that they've been simmering in. But now what we're doing is giving the edge just a little bit of a crispness. They're drying out. They're going to concentrate the flavors. And in the meanwhile, up here on top of the stove, we've strained the cooking liquid with all the vegetables and everything else in it, mashed it through a sieve, and this will be reduced to make the gravy. And there you have the finished product. So after hours of slow braising in the oven, you can see the lamb shank has taken on the dark purple component from the wine. We've served it over, you can call it white polenta. If you're from South Carolina, you can call it cheesy grits. This is Yelton's finest grits mixed with a combination of Swiss and Gruyere cheese. The sauce on top, you can tell it's thickened from the pan juices. And let's just see if we can catch, yes, you can catch the steam rising from the top of this. What you can't catch is the way that steam smells, which is just insane. And on the off chance that you've got somebody who doesn't like grits or polenta or cornmeal in general, this is also exquisite, as you can see here, served over couscous. Plain and simple, just a little bit of butter. It's still delicious.